guys, this is Sandy. Welcome back. I love it when we get to hang out together. So today's project is this really neat card that is all white on the front with a surprise rainbow on the inside. And that was inspired by the sentiment that was in the Stronger Together stamp set by Simon Says Stamp. And the sentiment says, "After the storm comes the rainbow." And it just kind of inspired this idea where the front of the card is all white, and then when you open it up, there's this big surprise rainbow. So I decided to make the front panel with these stems that I ended up getting the file from an Etsy store, and I'll make sure to link that in the description below. But I cut the stems in 3 different sizes, a small, medium, and large, and then I arranged them on the panel just so that they would kind of connect together a little bit and make sure there's some space between. I added a little liquid glue on the back. That gives me a chance to kind of shift it before it dries if I need to. And then you can see there I just put a acrylic block on it that kind of holds it in place and keeps it steady while it's drying. Something else I did when I was gluing these down is after I put the liquid glue on the back, I tapped the glue side down onto a scrap piece of paper, and that lifts off some of the glue so I didn't get extra globbies that are squishing out the sides. So I did have a couple of smooches that I had to clean up there, but basically that's it. So the next thing I did was work on my sentiment. Now, the sentiment that I talked about that inspired this whole card has 2 lines that are stuck together, but I wanted them to be separate. So I ended up masking off the part I didn't want to use each time. So this is it here. I have it in my MISTI, and I'm going to use this masking paper to just cover the bottom line, and I'm going to do the top line first. So I mask off the bottom, then I ink up the part that I want to stamp, and then I lift the mask off, and that leaves the only part inked is the line of the sentiment that I plan to use. So here you can see that just that part shows, and now I have just the top, and then I do that for the bottom, and both my sentiments are on separate pieces all by themselves, which is just what I wanted. So I had to trim those up just a little bit. Now I'm going to adhere them onto some paper that is like a blue vellum, and I just matted it on there so that there's just a little bit hanging off the edge. I trimmed off the edges of the stems, and I'm ready to adhere my sentiment onto the front. So when I was doing this, I realized that the height of the stems is just a little bit off the panel, and I didn't want to use foam squares, so I ended up just making sure that I glued just on where the sentiment is going to lay on top of the stems, so that the center didn't press down flat onto the panel. That way it just kind of sits all at an even level instead of higher and then lower and then higher. So that's how I dealt with that issue. I popped the whole panel up on a foam piece. This is some craft foam with an adhesive on the back, and now my front is ready, basically. So on the inside, I'm going to put together the rainbow pieces. Start with the smallest of the 4 pieces and work my way in. So I line that up on the bottom and on the side and add all of the pieces just like that. The liquid glue helps. You can kind of slide it into place. Give yourself a second. You want to make sure that it doesn't hang off the edge at all, and if it does, you can just trim that off because you don't want to see the rainbow from the front of the card because it's supposed to be a surprise. So here I add some final touches of some shine, and that's it. Thank you for joining me today, guys.